All right. Hey, welcome back to the Go4CEO channel. This is John the Bomb. Building others means business. And I'm super excited today because we have an entrepreneur episode. And we love to have the entrepreneur episodes because it really details how you can work into a company, build equity, and be one of the key components of driving that business to the next level. And this guy is very, very good at that. I met him about a year and a half or so ago through a connection, and I've been super impressed by just his ability to work with clients, mutual clients, being able to talk about strategy and things that are happening into the marketplace. And, their company is a CFO, a fractional CFO services with many more things available to them, but Coveted Financial and Joe, thank you so much for coming on the Go4CEO channel.
Thanks for having me, John. I'm excited to be here, and I think it's really cool everything you're doing.
Awesome, awesome, brother. Well, hey, let's get started. Love to get the story of, where you were. I think you have a background, or if I remember correctly, like myself right now, my day-to-day, 9 to 5 is, being a commercial banker. So you have that background, and then how you got into the coveted financial world, the connection that you had there, and what prompted you to bring yourself into this industry.
Yeah, so I guess I'll start from the beginning. So actually, for my relationship with Coveted, which then sprung my banking career, was I knew Joe Priola, the founder of Coveted Financial, and I actually interned for him when I was in college. So having an internship at Coveted really was huge for me because that's how I was able to start my banking career because I understood how a P&L and a balance sheet worked. So I worked for a community bank up in Milwaukee for just over 6 years, I believe. And when I started there, I was part of their rotational program. So I rotated through all the different parts of the bank. So I started off on the retail side as a customer service and teller for a couple weeks, then branch management, then the home mortgage side, all the backroom stuff. And then I spent some time in credit, and then I went and spent some time as a lender. And at the end, you had a chance to pick of what path you wanted to go down. And the path I wanted to go down was being a commercial lender. I really thought it was cool to give back to the community and help businesses grow. But before I wanted to be a lender, I said, I wanted to spend, a while in credit to understand one, how a bank works and, how they structure the deals, but two, give me some time to network on the side, after hours. So spend some time in credit, which is really beneficial. With me being from Illinois, there's a lot to learn going to a new market. So I really learned a lot on how to develop new relationships, learned a lot about the city. And, it was just a great overall experience. And was super lucky to be with that bank and, sprung me to coming back to Coveted. Joe, our founder, always stayed in touch with me when I was in banking. And he always told me I'd come back and I'd kind of laugh at him and be like, yeah, I don't really know how this fits, man. But he was very persistent, and it was the right opportunity for me to come back. And what sprung it was he wrote a book called Half Retired. And the whole premise of the book is instead of building a business to sell it to someone random or someone you don't know, bring on a team that you trust that can propel the business in the next stage after he were to move on. So that's what he did. He brought me on as a chief revenue officer to one, bring on clients and spread the word of everything we're doing, but also keeping my banking hat on. One of the things I do is help our clients structure deals to then bring to the banks. So that's a lot of fun for me as well, because I'm basically doing loan write-ups for loan presentations, but just with other bankers. So that's really fun for me as well. But yeah, he brought me on as chief revenue officer and now one of the partners with the firm as well. So I'm super lucky to be here, and it's just been a great experience all the way across the board.
No, it's a great journey, right? I mean, think about the internship, riding the wave of being able to go inside, and see how the sausage is made from the banking side, right? And then always having this relationship, which is a key thing, Go for Your community. We talk a lot about aligning yourself. Chapter 2 of the book coming out in July, is align yourself with the right people, because after you've assessed where you're at, You have to align yourself and then be able to make those matches and friendships and connections so that you can grow from there. So tell us, obviously you had a nice career. From what I know, you had some great success out there in Milwaukee in the banking world, but then, he was persistent. Joe was coming after you and, hey, beating the drum. And as you just shared, this book inspired him to bring in the right quality of people surrounding him in the Coveted Financial journey. So those first few moments of making the change, what was that, internal struggle for you? Like what maybe share with the audience what, was holding you back from it, but then
Yeah.
what brought you to that entrepreneur side of things?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a great question. I mean, one of the things that was, that was really holding me back from making the decision is, I moved my whole life to Milwaukee, built
Mhm.
very strong relationships, and that's hard to give up. You spend a lot of sweat equity building the trust with people, and that's why I was able to, have some success up there is just because of those relationships and your team of, brokers, attorneys, accountants that trust you to refer their clients over, right? And that was scary for me. And then it was too, it's like, how do these two worlds mix, being a banker and then going to the fractional CFO side? And really it's the same. Like my day-to-day hasn't really changed. It is understanding how a business is structured, understanding its value, and learning how to grow it. And really that's what you're doing as a banker, right? You have an opportunity that comes to you, you're learning the P&L and L and the balance sheet. Okay, what's their capacity? How much more capital can I inject in them without putting them in a tough spot where they're not able to cover their debt? It's really the same thought process. It's just now I'm able to go more in depth with the clients compared to when you're in banking, you have two important jobs. It's one is to bring in good deals, and two is to protect the bank. So if you're spending too much time with one client, you're not able to do those two other things, which is doing a disservice to the bank at the end of the day. Now you're really getting into the weeds, really explaining and breaking down, what's your true adjusted EBITDA? How do we grow the balance sheet? What are things that are on the balance sheet that we can move off that really, aren't related to this entity? Maybe it's your sister entity that it's related to. So it's really just going more in depth with the clients. That's really the only difference there. But it's the other scary thing was building relationships down in Chicago, right? Like I met you through mutual connections, which is great. But I wanted to build the same support system that I had in Milwaukee and build that down in Chicago. And the cool thing with everything that we do is we're able to do it wherever. Like we have clients up in Wisconsin now, which is great. So I'm able to collaborate with, my old team members up there, which is awesome. We have clients in Arizona, clients in California, clients in Florida. So we're able to help people wherever. And, that's really giving me a lot of comfort as well, knowing that all these relationships I've built throughout my career are still holding true and everyone's still been a big help to me. So
It's interesting, right? As you build these relationships, and they take a while, right? And
yeah,
it's not just overnight. You meet someone, hey, exchange business cards. People feel like when you're young, I think in just getting into business, you feel like, hey, if you give a business card, they should probably do business with you. It doesn't work that way, right? So you're building that relationship, and we love to talk about that side of things, which is the E for engagement of CEO. Tell us a little bit about, how you do build, because it sounds like, you are very genuinely just nice guy. You put yourself out there. I've seen you in networking events. You're always asking questions and stuff like that. What were some of the secrets that you shared for those young entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs that are out there trying to build something and maybe they want to do it quicker, but what are some senses and things that you did to build those relationships?
Yeah, I think it's just being curious and caring. Like if you're passionate about your job and you're passionate about the work you're doing, it's kind of easy, right? And you just
Mhm.
always want to be learning too. And I think if you're passionate, you're curious and you care and you're honest, those are really the biggest things. When you say you're going to do something, you need to deliver. And if you do that, it goes such a long way, right? And your speed to deliver answers too. You might not have the answer right then, but if you just say, hey, I'm working on it or I'm looking into it and you're just communicating, that goes a long way too. So, I mean, it's just being a genuine person and, really getting to know the person as well, like understanding their family dynamic, understanding their career. And you want to be the first one to help them, right? If you help the other person first, they'll never forget that. And,
Mhm.
I remember the first people that helped me, especially coming and starting my role at Coveted, right? So I think that all kind of boils down to just being a good person overall. And if you're able to help them first, that goes such a long way.
Interesting, interesting. So, building the relationships, going into a little bit of a different vertical, although still in finance and working with business owners. And as you said, your day-to-day activities don't seem to have changed much. But so tell us a little bit about, that initial step, right? You move over to Coveted. You still have this track record of things that you've been able to do. What, prompted some of the conversations that led to, being a partner, right? How much time did that, go through? What are some things that you had to, I guess, bring to the table? Was there any type of lump sum, to be a partner? Those types of nuances when you think about becoming an entrepreneur within a company that existed already.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's really easy because our founder, Joe, he's very open and direct. So he's basically like, hey, if you're able to produce, you have a seat at the table, right? And he dangled that out to me when he was trying to get me to come back, right? So, it's kind of hard to, you're thinking about it and there's a lot going through your head. It's, like I said, the relationship piece, um, you know, uh, just a new city, probably have to, relocate at some point. You're going through all that through your head, but you're like, wow, there's not a lot of people that have this opportunity at the end of the day.
Mhm.
And, I just told myself if I work hard and do all the things I was saying. If you're a genuine person, you care and work hard, it's most likely going to work out. And I was lucky to build a lot of strong relationships early on here at Coveted. And, we were able to bring on a lot of really, really cool and growing new clients. And, that's, why he wants to keep me around. And now why I'm one of the two other key members to carry this on after he retires.
No, that's an exciting time, right? I mean, starting to build equity and a share into this principle of, growing Coveted Financial and, becoming a successful company more and more, along with the foundation that Joe had put together before, right? So
Mm.
tell us a little bit about, once you got in, right? What are some of the strategies, not only just the title, right? Chief Revenue Officer, so you're a C-suite guy, and that has some cachet to it from the beginning, but what were some of the things that you did to ingratiate yourself either to, the data analyst side, to the accounting side, to the, other supporting mechanisms that would help you, build your entrepreneur side within the company?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, especially the first half of last year, I just sat back. Like I was in all the leadership meetings, and I just wanted to see how everything was, currently how everything was working and learn more about the business. If you jump in right away and try to make all these changes, you're probably gonna rub people the wrong way. So it was a lot of just like sitting back, listening, understanding the culture, understanding how your other partners, view opportunities and then you can kind of once you build their trust you have more say and you understand they start to understand your thought process too. So I think that's the biggest thing is just patience. Obviously there's a lot of things that I wanted to speak up and say right away, but I knew it probably wouldn't have been received very well. So I think that's the biggest thing is just really not any systems or anything. It was just sitting back and learning. Even though I interned there and I've known Joe and I've seen their work, there's still a lot of things now that I was, backstage and behind the curtain that I wanted to see as well. And like I said, once I build that trust, it makes it easier to speak up and everyone strategizes together then.
KLT, baby, know, like, and trust, right? So,
Right.
it's a big deal externally, internally, trying to manage relationships and all different types of personalities too, right? We won't say how young you are, but I think you're putting that facial hair for a reason. But it's great to see and great to hear that strategy, right? Those first 3 to 6 months, go for CEO community. You become an entrepreneur. You don't want to come in there just giving your opinion and starting to blast off on things, even if you do have some great insights and thoughts. But really build up that rapport, build up that know, like, and trust scenario. That way, you can, when you voice it, people are like, you know what? Actually, I want to listen to Joe. I want to listen to Sally, right? Those types of things. So, really, really interesting. So, walk us through the beginning parts of a conversation with a current prospect.
Yep.
Tell us how Coveted and what you're doing is a little bit different, or at least sharing, what it is, the services that you guys provide.
Yeah, so for us, we're set up a little bit different than other fractional CFO firms that you might see out there. We come at it with a team approach. You probably, if you search a fractional CFO, it's probably a smaller shop where it's like 1 to 4 guys, and they're going in and giving high advisory advice. We do give the high overview advisory advice, but we're also able to get in the weeds as well. So we have, including myself, we have 5 other case managers who we call the CFOs, the fractional CFOs, and then to support them is our analysts, which are accountants. So the cool thing is, because we have a team of 20 people, that if there's a company that, say, John, you have a client and you bring them on and their debt service coverage ratio is like a 1.75 or 1.8, they come up for renewal and now they're getting down to like a 1.3. Their cash flow is starting to get tighter and tighter. Well, what's going on? There might be some stuff going on with, just overall operational processes. There could be something going on within the P&L that's not structured properly, and balance sheet that need to be cleaned up and need to be addressed, and to give the client financial visibility to make the right decisions. And that's what we're here to do, is to provide the client with accurate data, so they have the visibility to make the right decisions for their business. So if they do start to slide and there is a mess that starts to build up, we're able to go in with our team approach to go in and clean it up. And then with our analysts doing the accounting month in and month out for our clients, it allows our client to have the books closed by a specific day every month. So that way, when we have our monthly meetings with our clients, our CFOs are focused on, growth and being on our toes. We don't want to ever be on our heels. So there's not going to be any discrepancies in the accounting, because we know we have that. So our meeting is all strategy. How do we grow? How do we utilize the capital that we do have to project you to go forward, to keep growing at the right pace? That's really our goal. How our communication goes with clients, we get brought in really 2 ways. It's one is the example I just gave, where a client is starting to slip and they need to get back on track. Or we get brought in where a client wants to grow, but doesn't know how, right? They might be wanting to exit within the next 3 to 5 years, and growing scares them because they hear horror stories. They're like, I've been running a successful business for the past 10 years, but if I grow, this could set everything back. And maybe I'm just okay with the current EBITDA I have, which is fine, but we're there to help teach you how to grow that EBITDA. There's other ways that you can continue to grow at a healthy pace and make you feel comfortable. So that way, that when you do sell, you're being able to sell for the maximum amount, and you're able to go live in your happy retired life. Business owners, their business is probably their biggest asset, and they spend a lot of time um, in their own personal dollars, and a lot of sweat that goes into running that business. And we just want to see them, succeed and be able to sell for that maximum dollar at the end of the day, if that's what they choose to do.
That's exciting stuff, right? I mean, Go for Sure community, if you're a business owner right now or an entrepreneur thinking about the strategy of how to exit, having the right team around you, we talk a lot about, a good accountant, a good banker, a good attorney, right? And CFO is such a integral part of that process, right? Especially when you get over a 7-figure gross revenues, you really start to realize, how integral the finances are and how to leverage debt and structure things and all that stuff. So it's a cool world that you're in, man. So really cool.
Yeah. And I think the thing that really sets us apart too is, for those businesses that do grow and that their end goal is to sell, right? And that's not everyone's end goal, but that's most people's, that, they eventually want out and they want to hand it over to the right person. And with us, not only do we care about how the business is currently running, like we want to see those cash flows, to the max amount, right? We want to see their business succeed, but we also care about them on the personal level and making sure that they're set up with the right personal tax accountants, the right private wealth managers, the right advisors on the back end too, so that when you do sell, you have that support as well. And if you hire just an in-house CFO, obviously they're going to kill it and want to do their day-to-day job very well, but you can't really lean on them to go through the sale process. You can't really like open up to them about everything you have going on the personal side. And with us, you're able to do that. So I think that's what, how we're able to build a lot of trust within the business owners, and why, a lot of people want to work with us.
No, that's awesome. I mean, there's segmentation of communication, right? And it's kind of like your inner circle, and people get let into certain levels of need, right? To need to know type of basis, but really, really interesting stuff. So One angle I want to take is kind of the teamwork side, right? You mentioned analysts, you mentioned accountants, you mentioned another team of CFOs, and obviously Joe heading the head of the spear there. When you're looking at how to put a team together with your clients, what are some attributes of the company? Is it industry? Is it where they're at in the revenue cycle? Is it more because you saw challenges and then you are putting right teammates together? How do you go about that process?
Yeah, a lot is, I would say one thing is the personality, right? Making sure the personality within our team and our client, and make sure those merge together well. And I would say the other is the skill set, right? There's some of our CFOs are very good with the lean on me. I can be your financial leader of your company to help you grow. Like this is the plan we're gonna, go down and just lean on me and I'll help you get there. And there are some guys that we have and gals that are very technically, they're very sound and, they're very good when it comes to, hey, if you want to grow your business and you want to acquire, 2 to 3 entities, this is where you're currently at. This is what it will look like if you were to acquire a company to give them a true global perspective by consolidation. So it's really just understanding the strengths of your team and just making sure that the personalities match up and communication. We tell all of our clients, so we're on a month-to-month contract with all our clients, and the reason we do that is one, we want our team to bring their A game every day. I would say, this kind of a chip on my shoulder, that we're always being looked at like, why do I have you when I can have someone in house? And so we need to be able to bring our A game every day so they're not questioning, our clients aren't questioning our value or our prospects don't question our value. So it's one to put the pressure on us, but two, it's to hold our clients accountable too. We need communication from them. We need data from them in order to go in and do what we need to do. So if we're not seeing the reciprocation there, that's probably not going to work as well. So communication is so key with everything that we do.
I love it. I love it. So last few questions right here with the Go for CEO channel. We talk about C is client experience, E is for engagement, and O is for operational excellence. I really appreciate you going through, the journey, right, of being at a bank and doing the internship with an eventual partnership opportunity and becoming an entrepreneur, and then the process of really working with your clients and stuff. So from a client experience side of things, if you think about, your value prop and what you guys have done, I know you've talked a little bit about that today. What is kind of the high level, maybe 60 seconds of, what Coveted Financial brings to the table from a client experience?
I'll tell you a story. I think that's the best way to do it. So a couple of years ago, we got engaged by a client that wanted to sell their business. They thought we were a broker, and it's like, okay, well, we can help you sell your business, but really our bread and butter of our business is our fractional CFO work. And they're like, all right, well, let's go down the sale route. At the time, they're getting offers for their business around $3 million. And while we're going through this process, we we're pointing out things. They had 3 other entities as well, and they're all selling together as a package deal. And we're seeing a lot of things on, one of the parent companies' balance sheets that should have been moved off onto one of the sister companies. And we're seeing some inconsistencies in the P&L that we knew for a fact we could tune up. So we kind of broke them down and like, hey, work with us for the next, 2 to 3 years. Let us do our fractional CFO work and see what happens. So we went in, we were able to clean some things up, point some things out, give the client financial visibility because the business owner knows their business better than anyone else. We're just there to provide the data so that they can make the decisions that they need to make. So we gave them the clear data to make their decisions. All of a sudden, we saw their EBITDA grow, and instead of selling for 3 million, we were able to sell them for 10 million. So now they're living a nice retired life down in Florida, all happy, and we were able to, recognize about $7 million of value that wouldn't have been there if we didn't go in and clean some things up.
Boom goes the dynamite. Nice, nice. No, that's a pretty powerful story. And what better client experience than to, somebody comes to you with an issue, you acknowledge it, and then you add value around that. And in a 2 to 3 year period, you triple X'd, right, what they were looking to do, which is pretty darn cool. So go for CEO community. If you're an owner of a business and you're looking and you have this journey that you're on of looking to sell, look at Coveted Financial and Joe and his expertise to be able to grow from there. So, E is for engagement. You've shared, your quality of approach, right, of network. I've seen you at networking events, and you're very inquisitive and talking about questions and all that type of stuff. So, what's the engagement like at your team level? Do you guys go out? Do you have awards, stuff like that? So, how do you guys engage not only with your team, with your vendors, if you have those, and then obviously clients? Do you have client engagement stuff?
Yeah, I'll start with our clients. So our clients, obviously, we need to be engaged. So it's constant communication. We meet with our clients once a month to really break down the P&L and the balance sheet and show them, hey, this is your path to success. We basically require that we're going to have a meeting once a month. But there's a lot of times where we have calls with them, every other week. And, it just really depends on the client of what they have going on. So we always need to be in communication with them, and it's just showing that we care. We've been around for 14 years, and we've had clients that have been with us for the full 14 years, and we've had clients that have been with us for 7, and that's our average client length. And the only reason that average client length stopped at 7 is because we do such a good job of growing these businesses to then sell. So that just shows that the trust that we build, that these companies that started with us 14 years ago, one of them, for example, started with us when they were 8 million in revenues. Now they're up to 300 million in revenues. So
Wow.
you're really building that trust, showing you care, really just providing every value you can possible, and that makes them stick with you. For our team, we do a lot of different things. So we have two big team events every year. One is our Christmas party, and the other one we do in the summer. And the past couple of years, we've been going to a Cubs game. We do a rooftop. And then we make sure we meet once a quarter, all in person, because we're mostly at our clients' offices or locations most of the time. So that's that one day per quarter, we're all together and we're working for half the day to go over all of our problems and how we can continue to grow internally. Um, and then we also have a call every 2 weeks. All the CFOs, we all meet. We explain, what's going on in our lives, what's going on with each of the clients, so all of us are, kept up to speed as well. And then when it comes to, your business partners and your COIs, it's really just like I said, always be curious. Like, let's go grab coffee. Let's go grab a beer. Let's just hang out. And, you want to get to know them on a personal level and know what goals they have. Like you want to know how to help them. And, if you're just staying in front of people and show that you genuinely care about them, you get that reciprocated for sure.
Nice, nice. E in engagement is such a vital tool, right? Part of the process of really, looking where the relationships are, what level they're at, what more can you pour into it, what seed can you plant, those types of things. And it's a mindset for sure behind it. So last one is O for operational excellence, right? And obviously you've been with Covenant now a while. You've seen some of the ways that you guys, have changed systems or processes and stuff like that. What can you tell us that would be a value add of how you have looked at operational excellence?
Yeah, for operational excellence, like I said, for us, it's just like communication. So it's always looking at different ways that everyone can be on the same page. So we've looked into a lot of software systems that allow, our team members to go in and see where each client is throughout the process. Like I said, we have for a fractional CFO team, we have a pretty big team, and our analysts are working with the CFOs. So they need to know where things are at with communication with the client in order for the analyst to get done, the things they need to get done for that meeting. So that's really where we try to really tune in from the operations side. The other thing is too, we've used a system called Fathom, which can help roll up all these companies to show the business owners a global picture, because that's huge. Like I said, not only do we care about the business, but we care about them personally too. So if they have commercial real estate that they invest in, if they have other businesses that they invest in, the system allows us to package everything together, show them where they're at from a global perspective. Because John, like from a bank, that's how you underwrite deals. You want to know where your client is from a global perspective, and that's really the other value add that we have is. With us, a lot of us are former bankers, and the cheapest form of capital is going to a bank to get that. And it's us really breaking down, these are the steps, these are everything you have to get done in order to access that capital. So yeah, it's really using, Fathom, and we've looked into AI for, bookkeeping and stuff. It's just not where we need it yet. So we're always going to lean on our team. And, I think our clients, one of the other reasons they like us is that personal touch too. So I'm sure, it'll take a little bit for us to want to get there. But we're always looking at options. I think that's a really cool thing about Coveted and, the atmosphere that Joe's built. It's always, being open to ideas and always knowing what's out there. Because if there's a system or a software that's out there that's going to make our clients' lives easier, we want to do that. So.
I love it, man. It's really a nice situation when you can put the right tools along with the service level that you guys have put together, and then the strategy behind it and growth, or saving a company from reeling out of its existence, right? So
Yeah.
it's a really cool way of looking and doing things. So Joe, allow the audience a way to get a hold of you. So why don't you share a little bit about how to get a hold of you, what you do, where you're accessible to, and then obviously any last words that you want to share.
Yeah, so you can reach me through LinkedIn. If you just search my name, Joe Schmidt, I'll pop right up. You can message me there. Also, if you go to covetedfinancialservices.com, I'll show up on the page and you'll be able to email me directly there. So, don't hesitate to reach out. Our main goal is to help business owners succeed. And, we just want to continue to do that. So that's what we care most about. And I said, we have 60 clients and we got a team that's growing, and we're able to help any industry. So we're agnostic in every shape and form to help businesses. So don't be scared to reach out.
And any final words of being an entrepreneur? You've obviously, done a great job at that, and built some equity now with a company, and took that leap of faith to be able to leave where you were a little bit comfortable.
Yeah.
Any last words with that part of it?
Yeah, I would always just say never say no to taking a meeting. You never know like where that meeting is going to go and who that person knows. Obviously it's easier when you're younger and you don't have, families and everything else that you have to worry about. You don't take those meetings, but it's just huge. Like meet as many people as possible, ask the right questions, and if you work hard, you're probably going to go down the right path. So
I love it. I love it. Well, hey, thanks so much for being on the Go4CEO channel, Joe. Appreciate what you guys do at Coveted Financial, and go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet. The book is coming out in July. I have a targeted date to talk to the editor, and we're going through editing process right now. We talk about assess where you're at, align yourself with people like Joe, become accountable, and then attack. So thank you so much, Go4CEO community. Joe Schmidt, we'll have you back on soon, and thank you so much for everything you do.
thanks, John. I appreciate it.